I'm Dennis Pullin. One of my favorite parts about being president and CEO of Virtua Health is getting to know our colleagues and the many ways they are here for good. Each person contributes to healthy communities, and each person has a story to tell. Let's meet one. Socrates, Alyssa,
Good morning.
thank you so much for joining me on Here for Good. So it's not every day I get the honor of talking to a father-daughter duo here at Virtua. And so when I heard about your story, I felt it was one we absolutely had to share. So I'll start with you. Tell me about your career here at Virtua.
Started as an EMT with Pennsylvania EMS volunteering. Thought I wanted to go to medical school at one point, and then wound up watching paramedics work I have to do that. I became a paramedic in November of 95. So it's been a minute now.
So tell me, how's it been growing up in a household knowing that you had a father that was out saving lives every day and trying to make a difference?
I always thought that it was really awesome. I mean, both of my parents work in healthcare, so they're always giving back to our community, and I really appreciate that. And that's something that I'd like to do for my community one day. So it was nice to be able to look up to the both of them as, people who I would love to be someday, people who I strive to be someday.
So you said both of your parents were in healthcare, but there was something about your dad's journey that inspired you to sort of go down that same path. What was it?
I love healthcare. I love being involved in it. I always saw how much he loved his job, and that made me want to get involved in it just as much as he is.
What about the conversations around the dinner table at night? Surely they tend to be a little different than most households. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, surely. I mean, a lot of the time, my dad would work nights, so a lot of the time, dinners would look a little bit different than your typical family. But a lot of the time, breakfast in the morning would be run by Dad. He might not have been there for dinner all the time, but in the morning, after working an overnight shift, he would be there in the morning to cook us, his breakfast sandwich.
Oh, so when you say run by Dad, you mean he actually prepared breakfast?
Yes. I always remember his breakfast sandwiches. That was one thing that I absolutely loved.
So you're fairly, I would say, young in your career. What's your plans going forward? I mean, you've had a great example in both parents in healthcare. It's been inspiring for you.
Yeah.
But you have any other aspirations?
So I definitely want to stay in healthcare. I really enjoy that aspect of my job. It's something I've always been super interested in. I'm definitely leaning towards the nursing route of things, but being a paramedic obviously looks really interesting to me. I do want to follow in Dad's footsteps, but I can also do that through a nursing program.
You had a long career in terms of saving lives and making a difference. Tell me about some of the most memorable things that have truly impacted you.
Well, as Alyssa mentioned, I truly enjoy fixing the very sick and very broken people. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. A lot of people it gets to them after a while, and there's a lot of skeletons up there, so to speak.
But I'm sure, throughout your experience and running into young professionals and being put in a position to offer maybe some pearls of wisdom, some things that you share with others that are following in your footsteps. Can you perhaps enlighten me on some of those things?
Well, that ambulance becomes my classroom, too. I love to teach. I've been teaching for years and years and years, and I'll have an EMT in the back of the ambulance, if I was like working with my daughter kind of thing, who's maybe looking at me and say, I want to be a paramedic one day. So I'm going to explain to them in paramedic terms what's happening with the patient, and this is what we're doing, and we're measuring this, and we're measuring that, and when it does this, it means this. When it does that, it means something else. So kind of thing. I love to teach.
Each and every situation that you go into, you don't always know what to expect. And it's chaos. And people are counting on you to be that bridge between oftentimes life or death. So how do you prepare someone mentally for that?
I think a lot of those people have groomed themselves with that mindset before they get into this, because this isn't for everybody. And there's the whole adrenaline factor. I've jumped out of airplanes, I've scuba dived, so it's like I guess I had that mindset from the get-go.
Did you inherit any of that?
Yes, I love the adrenaline rush. Yeah, he's big on that, and I kind of learned that through cheerleading. I did all-star cheerleading for a very long time. The things that we did were very dangerous and our flyers would get hurt sometimes, but being able to, trust in your teammates and be able to work together and be able to throw somebody to astronomical heights and be able to give them that trust, that adrenaline rush is something that I've always loved, and I definitely feel that through my job.
How does your fellow colleagues sort of respond to this father-daughter duo and sort of being in the same professional environment? Does it impact your extended working relationships at all?
Well, there's a lot of our coworkers who just love the dynamic that me and him share. A lot of them call me Little Sock or Baby Sock in the office. So now I've got a nickname.
I think I've been doing this long enough, and I have a lot of friends, so I think I'm fairly, well respected. I would hope.
Popular.
He's popular. He's dad. You have to say.
I was just a washed-up old medic until this one showed up, and now all of a sudden I get my 15 minutes of fame.
Well, I think you're a long ways from being washed up, and I think you are clearly building a legacy by not only exposing but bringing your daughter into this very, very noble profession. So I can't thank both of you enough for joining me on this inside edition of Here for Good. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Again, you had an opportunity to hear from two extraordinary professionals doing some very noble work. So please tune in again for another edition of Here for Good.